Caesar proposed to his father that they should either ask the cardinals to open the cupboard or shake hands with them. But Alexander VI replied, "Now, as to the worthy cardinals, Spada and Rospigliosi, let us ask both of them to dinner. Something tells me that we shall get that money back. Besides, you forget, Caesar, an indigestion declares itself immediately, while a prick or a bite occasions a delay of a day or two." Caesar gave way before such cogent reasoning, and the cardinals were consequently invited to dinner. The table was laid in a vineyard belonging to the Pope, near San Pierdarena, a charming retreat which the cardinals knew very well by report. Rospigliosi, quite set up with his new dignities, went with a good appetite and his most ingratiating manner. Spada, a prudent man, and greatly attached to his only nephew, a young captain of the highest promise, took paper and pen and made his will. He then sent word to his nephew to wait for him near the vineyard, but it appeared the servant did not find him. Spada knew what these invitations meant. Since Christianity, so eminently civilizing, had made progress in Rome, it was no longer a centurion who came from the tyrant with a message. Caesar wills that you die. But it was a legate a latere who came with a smile on his lips from the Pope. His Holiness requests you dine with him. Spada set out about 2 o'clock to San Pierdarena. The Pope awaited him. The first sight that attracted the eyes of Spada was that of his nephew, in full costume, and Caesar Borgia paying him the most marked attentions. Spada turned pale, as Caesar looked at him with an ironical air, which proved that he had anticipated all, and that the snare was well spread. They had began dinner, and Spada was only able to inquire of his nephew if he had received his message. The nephew replied no, perfectly comprehending the meaning of the question. It was too late, for he had already drunk a glass of the excellent wine, placed for him expressly by the Pope's butler. Spada at the same moment saw another bottle approach him, which he was pressed to taste. An hour afterwards, a physician declared that they were both poisoned through eating mushrooms. Spada died on the threshold of the vineyard. The nephew expired at his own door, making signs which his wife could not comprehend. What a little story of intrigue we've got going on here. Cardinals, murder happening. Get Columbo on the case. I guess Columbo's not exactly needed if the physician was able to determine that they were poisoned through eating mushrooms. Though curious, wouldn't the physician be under the employ of the Pope or Caesar Borgia? So I would imagine those reports would get obfuscated at some point. Like, those aren't going to make it to light. No one's going to actually know how they died. I think it would be probably a cover-up, some sort of bogus story made about the fact that they ate, spoiled bread on their journey to the vineyard, not that they ate poisoned mushrooms while at the vineyard. That's the stuff that looks suspicious. So, okay, I'll be completely honest with you. I am trying my hardest to keep the thread of this story and what Faria had said in terms of context before it. He worked for the nephew of Spada as a tutor to his kids. Was that right? Am I getting that mixed up? So the story's basically about how the treasure came to be. And like any good treasure hunt story, that treasure is going to have exchanged hands a couple of times while it amasses its girth, if you will. I wish I hadn't described it that way, but I did, and here we are. So what we've learned is that the wealth has been accumulating, that Alexander VI and his son, Caesar Borgia, have concocted this plan to bring both cardinals together, and that once they kill them, they will then take control of the wealth. But here it says that Spada had written his will right before the dinner because he saw what was coming. And I really like this line in here saying that, back in my day, they would just say that, hey, Caesar wants you to die. But now it's like, oh, they come with crocodile tears and a fake smile saying, His Holiness requests that you dine with him. What's that? What's that 70s song? Smiling faces. Beware of a pat on the back. It might just hold you back. But more deadly, it might just stab your back. How about that? It might just poison your back with a lion ring. This is only the first episode I'm recording today, and I'm already losing the thread of my sanity. Let's just pick this story back up tomorrow. I think I'm going to have to sit down aside from recording and just read the story straight through so that I understand what's happening and I can explain it to you better. Or, hey, if you've read this story before, you can tell me what's going on. Either way, I'm just glad to be out of the dungeon for a little bit. So let's just see what happens tomorrow with more of the story within the story of the Count of Monte Cristo. Until then, I'll see y'all later. Okay, goodbye. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.